The Government of India, after independence, announced the first ever industrial policy in the year 1948, under which it promoted the model of mixed economy. Thereafter, the next important industrial policy was announced in 1956, where it brought a lot of the industries under the tight control of the government. In addition to this, the year is also known for two other very important economic policies. One, it was the year when government announced the second 5-year plan, and it was also the year when the government of India nationalized Life Insurance Corporation. Whenever you come across the term nationalization, what does it actually mean? It means the ownership has been transferred from the private to the government, and thereafter, the tight control over the operations, funding, etc., will be with the government. In recent times, there have been certain allegations made regarding the functioning of LIC. The allegation is that LIC was forced by the Department of Financial Services, which functions under the Ministry of Finance and the Niti Aayog, to make certain amount of investments in the company Adani. What is the truth behind it? What are the functions of the LIC? From where does the LIC gets its money? Where does LIC invest the money? Let's understand in this episode. Hello and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. Before I start the discussion for today, I have a very important announcement to make. I know a lot of you are preparing for the Civil Services Examination 2026. If you want to ace the examination in your first attempt, ensure that right coverage of the static portion is done. You have covered the current affairs and you also have a very good reading material. You can avail all of this once you enroll into our courses, which are available at a price of 19,999. Those who are interested, check out the details by clicking on the link provided in the description. Let me begin the discussion now. The Government of India nationalized Life Insurance Corporation back in 1956 and infused a capital of 5 crore rupees. And since then, LIC has been completely owned by the government till 2022. Back in 2022, the Government of India announced listing of LIC, wherein certain amount of shares of LIC were sold in the market. LIC got listed, and even today, 96.5% of the ownership of LIC is with the government. And very often, the Government of India keeps on stating that it wants to further reduce its ownership, raise a certain amount of money by selling the stake in the market so that the money can be utilized for other purposes as well. Now, what does the LIC actually do? From where does the LIC gets the money? Let's understand. LIC has three very important sources of money. The first one is the shareholders' contribution. The second one essentially is by borrowing from the market. That is, LIC issues different types of instruments in the market, for example, bonds, and borrows money. The third one, which is the most important source of funding for the LIC, is basically by selling the insurance policies in the market. Insurance policies in the market. In fact, majority of the money that is there with the LIC is basically because it has sold insurance policies to many of the individuals, right? Let's say the insurance buyers in the market. So these are the different sources of money for the Life Insurance Corporation. Now let's understand, from where does LIC earn money? Where does LIC invest money? And the allegations are associated with the investments of LIC. The investments of LIC are in different instruments in the market. But listen to me very carefully. Does the Government of India influence the investment decisions of the Life Insurance Corporation? Because that is the allegation now. The government has categorically stated that LIC is a listed company. And LIC, by virtue of being an insurance company, comes under the regulation of Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. And whatever decisions are taken in order to invest in the market, these decisions are taken not through the influence of the government, but based on the board approved policy and according to the guidelines and the regulations announced by IRDAI. So, in a nutshell, are the allegations which are put forward by the Washington Post correct? In this particular case, the government has clarified no letter has been sent. No such communication has been sent by the Department of Financial Services to the LIC asking them or directing them to invest in the company Adani. And moreover, it's not uncommon for the LIC to make investment in the market, which I'll explain in a minute to you. So come back to the discussion now. Where does the LIC makes the investment? Before LIC makes an investment, listen to me carefully. There are certain important parameters the LIC will take into consideration. For example, when they want to invest, they will consider the factors such as what is the safety feature associated with instrument where they're investing, how liquid are these instruments, and another very important parameter that they take into consideration is the idea of a diversification. Basic idea is that they should not be investing in certain instruments which cannot be sold immediately in the market, which there is no demand for these instruments in the market. And they will also ensure that they will invest in different types of instruments in different types of companies, etc., so that even if one part of their investments is affected because of certain issue, other investments will continue to fetch returns to the LIC. Because, like I said, LIC, the most important funding for them is by selling the policies. And the policy holders, such as you and me, will be always worried about the returns and the coverage that we are supposed to be provided by this particular entity. Now, listen to me very carefully. Where has LIC invested money? LIC has invested money in the equity market as well as debt market. It has invested the money in the form of equity market instruments as well as debt market instruments. What is the basic idea? Equity market covers the shares and the debt market covers instruments such as bonds. And within this particular investment, where is the highest amount of investment done by LIC? According to the reports published by this listed entity, more than 60%, I repeat, more than 60% of their investment is in the debt market and specifically in the government bonds. In the government bonds as well as treasury bills. What is the basic idea here? The government bonds have a maturity period of more than 1 year. And I want to ask you a question. What is the highest maturity period of a government bond which has been issued by the government of India till now? So government bonds have a maturity period of more than 1 year and the treasury bills have a maturity period of up to 1 year. But in the market, whenever the government issues these instruments, these are considered to be the safest investments. These are considered, I repeat, safest investments. Why? These are backed by the government. So come back to the discussion again. Majority of the investment is done essentially in the debt market. And if you want a data, around 60% of the investments that are done by the LIC are in the government instruments itself. That is the central government investment. Does the LIC make an investment in the equity market? Of course, yes. Is there any data set for that? For example, have a look at this. In case of the Tata Group of Enterprises, the LIC has invested more than 1.3 lakh crore rupees. In case of Aditya Birla Company, it has made an investment of more than 42,000 crore rupees, etc. And the same is applicable even in the context of Adani Group of Enterprises. But the allegation which has been raised very recently is it has invested more than 30,000 crore rupees in certain types of bonds which are triple A rated bonds offering certain coupon rate. But the entity basically says this is not the first time we have invested in certain bonds. It is not the first time we have invested in a private sector company. It is a very common practice. In fact, LIC on annual basis makes an investment to the tune of 5.5 lakh crore rupees. And the total amount of investment which has been done by LIC so far is more than 15 lakh crore rupees. More than 15 lakh crore rupees in the market. So these are certain very important points that you need to understand. So in a nutshell, what are the important points? LIC is a statutory body. It was nationalized back in the year 1956. LIC has different sources of funding. The most important source of funding is by selling policies in the market. Does LIC invest in the market? Yes, based on certain parameters such as safety, liquidity, etc. And it is not uncommon for the LIC to purchase, right, let's say equity instruments as well as the debt instruments of private sector companies. These are certain very important points that you need to understand in the context of recent debate that has been happening, where there are allegations that LIC was forced by the Department of Financial Services to invest in a private sector company. If you like this initiative, do not forget to hit the like button. If you are yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Thank you. Have a great day.